The afternoon sun hung low over Maple and Pine when Emily Carter's old Ford rattled into the turn, its engine coughing like an aging workhorse, held together by the stubborn pride of its owner. She had just come from the hardware store, lumber stacked in the back, screws and bolts rolling every time the truck hit a bump. The supplies weren't for her. They were for a neighbor whose wheelchair ramp had collapsed last winter. Emily never charged. She never bragged. She lived quietly, content in anonymity. But anonymity died the moment red and blue lights ignited behind her like a sudden explosion. She pulled over immediately, hands resting calmly at 10 and 2. Two young Navy SEALs stepped out of the patrol vehicle, their boots heavy on the asphalt. One tapped the hood with mocking disdain. "No plates, no tags, driving a pilot junk," he said, smirking. "Probably unregistered, maybe stolen. What do you think, kid?" Emily's voice was soft, steady. "It's mine, since 2018. I've got ID." They looked at the card and laughed. "Active duty? Yeah, sure." But what began as a routine verification twisted into something darker. The senior SEAL, Harris, frowned at the scanner readout, then radioed in her name. Static. Then, classification error, unable to verify. Harris sneered. "An alias? Clearance too high to read? You trying to tell me you're a spy?" He bent her ID card between his fingers, a deliberate show of disrespect. His partner, Jones, leaned in so the growing crowd could hear. "Well, well, looks like we caught ourselves a ghost. No status, no plates. Everything about this is a lie." They pulled her from the truck. Emily didn't resist. She moved quietly, measured, like someone trained to know exactly when and when not to fight. They circled her truck, touching the dents, the rust. Every scrape had a history they couldn't begin to understand. Syria 2020, Yemen 2022. Missions that lived in silence and secrecy. "What's in the back?" Jones asked. "Wheelchair ramp materials." "Sure it is," he laughed. Then he picked up a framing hammer from the truck bed, its handle darkened by years of sweat. "Nice tool, real quality. You know, some people use these to check the structural integrity of a skull." He tapped it against his palm, waiting for a flicker of fear. Emily's hands tightened only slightly on her knees, white beneath the calluses. Her face still. Her breathing controlled. The tension became a wire pulled tight enough to hum. They searched her pockets. Keys, a worn photo, a notebook of names. Some starred, some crossed out. "Code names," one mocked. "Names of operators I served with," she said simply. They made her sit on the curb as traffic slowed, phones raised like feeding vultures. "She's uncooperative," one SEAL called out. "Might be unstable," the other added for the cameras. A passing teenager snapped a selfie and captioned it, "Trouble girl gets busted." Emily stared at the horizon. In her pocket lay a folded letter signed by the Chief of Naval Operations. In her glove box, a certificate for the Naval Cross, one of the highest awards for valor. On her sun visor, a miniature silver pin representing that medal, nearly invisible to the untrained eye. Harris held it to the sunlight. "What's this? Souvenir? Maybe Grandpappy's charm?" He flicked it dismissively, never recognizing the weight of history he held. The silence that followed was deafening. An old gas station clerk, Mike Henderson, watched from across the street, his Navy veteran hat in his hands. He walked closer, shaking. "Excuse me, officers, she's Chief Carter, a hero. Please." "Step back," Harris barked. "Irrelevant to the law." Mike retreated, but not before whispering into his phone. "You're not going to believe who they've got on the ground." And somewhere miles away, Admiral Peterson, stopped everything. 59 minutes later, a black SUV rolled into view like a shadow cutting through heat. Government plates. Tinted windows. The seals straightened. The back door opened. A 4-star Admiral stepped out. He didn't salute. He pointed. "Which of you stopped this woman?" The air froze. "That woman," he said, voice sharp enough to cut steel, "trained me. Coronado, 2015. She saved an entire platoon in a training disaster that should have killed us all." The crowd gasped. Phones lifted. The Admiral helped Emily stand. "Permission to assist you, Chief." "Permission granted," she replied. He faced the SEALs. "You just disrespected a woman with 3 combat tours and 8 years of service. She's extracted hostages in deserts you've never heard of. She's written the protocols you think you understand." One of the SEALs whispered, broken, "We didn't know." "You didn't ask," the Admiral replied. One by one, the town spoke up. "That's the woman who built my husband's wheelchair ramp. She saved my brother at sea. She donates blood every month. She delivers groceries to seniors. She taught survival to our scouts." Emily finally spoke, quiet but unshakable. "Don't apologize to me. Apologize to the next woman before you assume she's nothing. You never know who someone is by looking at them. Respect comes first, not last." The Admiral turned to the SEALs. "You will drive personally to Naval Special Warfare Command, retrieve her vehicle's historical status documents. 4 hours. You will not return without them." The crowd erupted. Days later, the video had 8 million views. The mayor declared June 4th Emily Carter Day. Donations built wheelchair ramps for veterans nationwide. The younger SEAL returned, humbled, and began volunteering. And Emily? She kept her old Ford. She kept her quiet life. She kept serving. But now, people stepped aside with respect. Not because she was famous, but because she was real.